Hello, I am talking resin drills versus acrylic drills. Jaded Gem Shop has an amazing video on this. She drew a diagram and I really kind of wanted to go a little bit deeper into it. Definitely check out her video. I will have that linked below, or I might have it at the end of the video or in the little icon thingy. But I kind of want to just talk about it because twice I have been sent acrylic drills instead of resin when I was told they were supposed to be resin, so I had to go and do some research. And this is what I found. I want to talk about the different behaviors of acrylic, about how I feel like they act differently on the canvas and how they line up in the trays differently, and the melting test that you can do to see if you're having acrylic drills or resin drills. My name is Marissa and I make a variety of diamond art content. I'm really excited to do this today. It has been on my agenda for a while and I'm just ready to do it. Yes, I'm doing this on one of my old cookie sheets. I put tin foil down because I will be playing with fire. I couldn't find another lighter, so we are just gonna have to deal with my big Bic energy. Okay, so I wanted to get the same DMC numbers in acrylic and resin. I wanted to do a light color and a dark color. I also want to start with how they behave in the tray. So let's do that. This is the acrylic DMC 948. Now they line up okay, and I feel like you barely tap it and they fall easier. Now, acrylic is a harder plastic, so I feel like that kind of makes them bounce around a lot more. I know this is a wiggly jiggly video, but see how I barely go like that and they all kind of bounce to the bottom? I don't feel like that happens with resin a lot, and they don't line up as easily. Now this is something you feel more than you can see, at least in my opinion. Let's do the resin. See how I'm tapping it a lot more and they are not jumping to the bottom. So this is just like my personal thing of how I've noticed they behave different. It's not moving, so they don't bounce around as much. One thing I did notice with resin though is they clump up a little bit more. See how, like right here, they just clump up a little bit more. I don't really see that as much with acrylic. Maybe I should have gotten out multiple trays, but I wanted to see it on one tray so you guys can see the consistency. But yeah, like I said, a little bit more clumpy. They don't bounce around. Once they're lined up, they are lined up. Let's do this with the black drills, the 310s. My tray is a little bit wet. I wanted to make sure it was as fresh and clean as possible. So I washed it with a little bit of dish soap, and it is a little bit wet when I put it through the spout. And I also have noticed that resin drills tend to have more static than acrylic drills. Just throwing that out there. I mean, these obviously have no static. Let's see if this one. Now, I do tend to de-static a lot too, so I use static guard. Now let's do the same thing. We're going to do acrylic drills and then we're going to do resin drills. barely tapping and they go straight down and they jump around a lot. Do sideways, tap, tap, tap. They just don't line up as easily. Just so you can see, they bounce around a lot. And I don't know if you can see, let's do it this way. There we go. You can see that there's little trash specks that I have a hard time getting out of my tray with these drills. Now, I'm not going over brands and which brands I'm using because that doesn't matter. See, little trash bits. Now let's see how it pours into the thing, if it's dry enough. Now, I don't think all acrylic drills has this amount of like dust. So this might be just this brand of drills, but it is something to take note of. Just wanted to show you that I wiped the tray off. And we will do the resin drills now. Okay. Tapping, and they don't immediately jump to the bottom. Yes, they move around a little bit, but it's not like the other ones where they all would fall. They are bouncier. At least I think they bounce around, but they line up a lot nicer and straighter in my opinion. And you don't see any trash or dust or speckles left on the bottom of the tray. Again, these are the resin. And I feel like they're sparklier. Sparklier. I'm going to put these back in and we are going to try to look at the bottoms of them because the acrylic drills, I think, tend to have more dimples on the bottom. Now, I do know resin drills can have some dimples on the bottom, but it's not as obvious or as many of them as the acrylic drills. See, this is the difference in trash too. But like I said, in Jada Gym Shop's video, she goes over that much better than I do. So yes, I'm gonna pour them so that they're in a lump so we can try to see the bottom of them and you can try to see the differences in the drills. All right, so you can see that they're a little bit flatter. Now with resin drills, you'll see cupping, which is where it indents in. So you can see on this drill here that it indents in. Now that is cupping and it can make it a little difficult for it to stay on your canvas. But other than that, the resin drills tend to have a flatter bottom to make it easier for it to stick to the canvas more. And then this part, I might do a different tray, a white tray. So you can try to see the differences in the way that they look on the bottom and what I mean. So it's just another white tray. Now these are the dimples that I'm talking about. You can kind of see it there. You can definitely see it here. And I didn't see any dimples on the last one. You can see the dimples all through here on these ones, right here. And then I will show you the dimples on the 948 as well. There we go. You can definitely see the dimples on the bottoms more throughout at this angle. Yes, these are the same DMC number. I believe just different die lots, just so you can see. Yeah. As you can see, barely any dimples. Flat backs, maybe some cupping. And let's look at the acrylic. Now the dimples on these ones are less noticeable. Aha. So you can see it right in here. You can see the little dimple there. There. Now this isn't a for sure tell all, but it's definitely a lot more common. with the acrylic. And I feel like the acrylics don't sit next to each other as nicely as the resin. Like these seem to be more flush and lay next to each other better. Because from what I understand, resin is poured while acrylic is pressed. So yes, they line up, but there's a little bit more space, I feel like, in between. I don't know, there, I think you can tell there. And another thing I have noticed is whenever I run my hand over a canvas that has resin drills, they tend to stay in place. And I like that, as where I don't feel like the acrylic holds on to the canvas as well. I could run my hands over an acrylic canvas and little diamonds will come off onto my hand and I have to replace them. So I would personally seal a canvas that has acrylic versus a resin. Now, I have never sealed anything yet, but I plan on getting some stuff to seal it. I need to do research on that. As you know, I'm still pretty new to this. This is just what I've found so far. Now, I want to get to playing with fire. So let's put some of these back, and I'm gonna put together little piles, and I want you to see the difference. Now, this is the biggest test that you can do to tell for sure. Acrylic melts at a lower temperature than resin, and this is the best and fastest way to tell. So I will be right back once I have my little doodads piled up. Okay, so I think I have the angle to where you'll be able to see if it melts. Let's try this out. Let's melt the acrylic first. It's actually catching on fire. And that is very melted. If you guys can get, see how they're all bubbled and melted. And I will do a timed one on the next ones. I just wanted to get a general idea if this would work. Now, I did the melting last time in my garage. And let's do about 30 seconds on the resin. Not even a little bit of a melt. A little bit, but it'll stay burning. But other than that, all the rest of them look exactly the same and didn't really melt. So one drill got a little too hot, but the rest of them really didn't do anything. Like, they're still able to separate. Like, this is just one chunk that's able to be moved around. These are all still separated. Only one drill got kind of hot. And honestly, one of the resin drills might have bounced over to this side, but, or acrylic drills, I'm sorry. One of the acrylic drills might have bounced over to this side, but see how they're all separating still? And this is just one melted chunk. All right, let's do one more. I'm gonna time it. I'm gonna do 15 seconds. Starting now. Okay, that is melted, one chunk right there. And let's do the resin drills for 15 seconds. And browned them a little bit, but it didn't really melt them. Able to separate them still. Look pretty much the same, just maybe a little bit brown on a couple of them. And then this, as you can see, is a full melted chunk. Same with these. Melted chunk. So acrylic, resin. So that is the melting test. As you can see, resin is a lot harder to melt. Yes, you can get it to melt if you hold it there for a lot longer. These melt at a much lower temperature and much faster. And my last little thoughts, I suppose, is how they place. I feel like my putty or my glue dots last a lot longer with the resin drills versus the acrylic drills. I have to change a lot more often, I feel like, when I'm using the acrylic drills, especially with my putty. I don't know why that is. Probably just the difference in material. And yeah, so my overall thoughts, I don't really care which one's which. Yes, acrylic is a little harder to work with, a little harder to line up, definitely more time consuming, but I think that they are more affordable, I feel like. I could be wrong on that, but you know, it is what it is. I prefer resin drills. Like I said, they perform better, they're easier to line up, and they just stick to the drill field better, as well as my pen. If you like this video, let me know down below, and I hope you guys go check out Jada Gem Shop's video as well. It was a really good video and started me on this journey. If you have any requests for videos, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun putting it together, and of course playing with fire, because who doesn't like that? I hope you have a beautiful day. I will see you in the next video. Bye!